Good morning. At least I hope, right? It's the Monday following semifinals, so it could be a bad morning for a lot of you. We'll talk about some of the disappointing stuff today. We'll, of course, talk about some of the great stuff as well. We had a good weekend of football regardless. So we've got some fun reactions today. It's going to be good. It's your boy, Jason, and we're going to talk some football. Take out your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Man, does coffee taste good in the official Wake and Take coffee mug. You guys can find the link to purchase that via the link in the description. Support Wake and Take. Drink some coffee in the best mug around. How could you not? How could you not? Coffee and football, what a great combo. Good morning, everyone. We've got Dustin in the chat. We've got Donald in the chat. We've got Louie in the chat. And it seems like a few people may be sad this morning. As less people than normal in the chat. Sorry to hear that if you did lose your semifinals. We'll definitely be talking about that today. Myself, I lost because of the Jalen Hurts injury. I'm totally not upset or frustrated or disappointed in that at all, as you could tell by the title of the show. But otherwise, it was a good week. Really, really a fun week of football. But before we get into it, we, of course, got to do the sad thing. And that is, of course, going through and mentioning all the unfortunate injuries that happened that are likely at this point, sideline these players for the championship unless it's a really minor injury. Fantasy championship. So we'll start. James Conner did pick up a knee injury. That one could be big as Trey Benson missed this game due to an injury. If someone has to rely on Amari DiMercato in the championship, that could be wild. So definitely something to monitor as we head forward. Drake London did pick up a hamstring injury. However, Raheem Morris after the game did come out and say that if, it was a closer game, that the Falcons weren't so good at football, then Drake London would have been able to return and that this hamstring isn't that big of a deal. But as we know with hamstrings, they do tend to linger and could definitely be a little bit of an issue. Man, the thing is mirrored. Sorry, Dustin. I'm trying to just get my camera right. I'll slide my chair over. There we go. It's like every time I move to the right direction, I've got to turn off the mirror. It's not normally mirrored. Anyway, Zay Flowers picked up a shoulder injury in that Steelers game. Something to monitor as we do not want to really miss out on him for the championship. Justice Hill also picked up an injury in that game. He has a concussion. Josh Allen played through a hand injury. That's just a Josh Allen thing. Hopefully it's not that big of a deal. As we saw, he did kind of have a floor game, which is wild that 16 points is a floor game for him. Something to monitor, but again, he played through it, did finish the game. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Jalen Tolbert picked up a finger injury, which did open the door for my guy Ryan Flournoy a little bit. CeeDee Lamb played through a shoulder injury, as he kind of has been over the last few weeks. So just something to monitor. It looks like they're going to keep, rolling with him, though. Tank Dell. This one was really sad. He dislocated his kneecap in that Chiefs game. Literally one of the worst injuries we've seen this season. Horrible stuff. Had to be hospitalized. CJ Stroud breaking down on the sideline. Just horrible, horrible stuff. Hopefully he is okay, and we'll see. Next we have Jalen Hurts, as we'll talk about in a minute. And then Kenneth Walker had an ankle injury. Not sure if it's a high ankle, low ankle, yada, 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 but we will find out at some point. Is my face behind the box for you guys? For me, I'm totally cool. I'm getting some conflicting information here. I am totally in the screen away from the box on my camera. Am I totally behind it right now? Legit. I don't. Somebody. Okay. Strange. How about now? I am totally covered by the box now on my screen. On your screen, is it okay? This is so strange. I am 100% covered right now. Let me know now, because I flipped it. Okay, now I'm behind the box and I wasn't behind the box? Okay, I'm really confused now, actually. Where am I supposed to be? This is good. My screen, I'm good. Not covered by anything. We're good now? Potentially? Maybe? I'm good on my screen. Am I still covered at this moment? Okay, slide to the left. Now I'm just in the middle. I am real. This is super strange. This is super strange. Where am I supposed to go? Okay. No. I don't understand this. I don't understand. I actually don't understand. On my screen, I'm good. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to remove the box. No fun box. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm not even going to worry about it. Now the box is gone. Nothing can cover me now. Nothing. We're just not even going to worry about it because it was totally right on my screen and YouTube wants to play with me for some reason. Cool. Injuries. That was honestly the last one. Kenneth Walker, that ankle injury will pick up if it's a low ankle, high ankle, any of that stuff. Sterling Shepard also picked up an ankle injury, but I don't think anyone was relying on him at this point anyway. So for the most part, we are just very worried about the Jalen Hurts injury, and we will be monitoring the Drake London hamstring, the James Conner knee, the Kenneth Walker ankle. Tank Dell is definitely done for the year, and I'm sure Josh Allen's going to play through that hand injury to lock down that playoff spot. Cool. Now, before we get into the reactions of the day, we do have an ad break today. So why don't we hear a little bit just about Player Profiler?
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free, and one of our key missions is to make as much statistics and information and deep analysis available on PlayerProfiler.com for free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In package to continue to make all this possible. If you can't do All In, that's okay. We have a draft kit. Or you can just subscribe to the player rankings. Those now include tight end premium FFPC ranks, our brand new data analysis package will blow your hair back. And of course, there's our Dynasty Deluxe and our DFS Dominator. Take a moment, check out our premium services to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.
Get that Player Profiler all-in package. You can still use promo code Santa to get that whole thing for $25. I know we only have 1 week of football left, but you can still use it for the playoffs with the DFS Dominator. You can, of course, still help you win your championship with all the fantastic Dynasty tools at Player Profiler. Cool. So, as mentioned, we have some takeaways. I would love to put on my overlay. I will actually at some point anyway, even if it covers me, because just frustrated. Honestly, guys, as this thumbnail says, losing hurts. Losing absolutely hurts. And I don't know about you guys, but I lost. I won't say I lost yet, just out of courtesy of I do have a potential Monday Night Miracle. I need 60 points from Kendre Miller, so we'll see. But I lost my home league semifinals matchup, and this is a team that I finished the year most points in the league, first place. We have median. I was like 26-4. Like genuinely the most dominated season I've ever had. Barely even had to set my lineup. Like my team, I've worked so hard over the last few years getting it to where it is. But every year I've kind of been snake bitten by injuries. Every single year. I can't really explain it. Every year. Every single year. And this year my team remained relatively healthy. It really did. As I said, I had a fantastic season, doing super well, lock down that number 1 seed, get into the semifinals, doing well, feeling good about my team. Even this week, even this week, I was feeling good, should have done well. But no, Jalen Hurts in the first quarter, decides to get concussed. Literally in the very first quarter, has to get a concussion, slides kind of head first and gets sandwiched. Of course, we never want injuries to happen, but why in the semifinals, in the first quarter, do we have to lose Jalen Hurts? And that's just going to crush so many seasons because for me also, it's not like I just have Jalen Hurts. I've got Devontae Smith. And when there's no Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith is not going to do well. Kenny Pickett apparently can find A.J. Brown, which honestly shocked me. But Devontae Smith was then next to nothing. It just became the Saquon Barkley game. And again, Like, this was, like, the best dynasty team I've ever built. I've got, like, Bijan. I've got Kenneth Walker. I've got Breece Hall. I've got Jamar Chase, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, you know, and my bench is, like, Anthony Richardson and Drake May, and now I'm Michael Penix. I have Jackson Smith-Njigba, Cooper Kupp. I mean, the tight end room is ridiculous. I've got, like, Hawkinson and McBride. Like, it is, like, a true super team. And unfortunately, Jalen Hurts got a concussion in the first quarter, and it's just, like, it just sucks. Like, it's like I can't even feel, like, too bad about it. I'm just, like, sad. I didn't even do anything wrong. My best dynasty team is all over because of one player's injury, really. And to kind of make matters worse, too, I played against Josh Allen. You know, like, I actually kind of had a chance there with him playing poorly. Like, if I just had a normal amount of points from my quarterback, it might have been fine. But no. He had an injury, and I know that there's a lot of people out there probably listening right now that lost their matchup because of the Jalen Hurts injury. And it just sucks. It's like you work so hard all year to get to this point, the most important week. Next week's the most important week, but the most important week of this season to date. And it can just all come crashing down due to one player's injury in the first quarter. And it really just sucks. Like, it really just reminds you how much this is just luck. You could work as hard as you want. You could have the perfect team. But no, in the semifinals, Jalen Hurts is going to get a concussion on a play that really he didn't even need to get a concussion on. Like, he could have just slid normally, you know, like a normal quarterback would slide. But no, he had to go head first, kind of. It was like, it was a weird one. Just a weird, it just hurts. It just hurts. Losing hurts, especially when you're the best team in the league and it happens because of an injury. Like I could have lived with it if you finished the game and it sucked. But now it's like I just have to continue playing. Like, next week I have to set my third place lineup. And I already know that I'm going to win the third place matchup by I'm probably still going to have the highest points in the league next week. I already know it. Just so painful. So anyone out there will wish for Monday Night Miracles later, but everyone, if you can, just put your hands together and wish for, like, the most amazing Kendre Miller game. Like, I need to see, like, 5-touchdown Alvin Kamara Kendre Miller tonight. I need to see him, like, literally look like Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders mixed with Saquon Barkley, mixed with Walter Payton, mixed with Derrick Henry tonight. I need to see, like, literally the most amazing running back ever put on the NFL field. So if all of you could just put your hands together, because apparently Dustin needs it too. Hands up in the air, hands together. I don't care. Just wish for a great Kendre Miller game. And if you don't need a good Kendre Miller game tonight, shame on you. Absolutely shame on you, because we need a massive Kendre Miller game tonight, and that is what we're hoping for. Among other things tonight, of course, a Demario Davis, 20 tackle game would be huge too for my IDP leaguers out there. And maybe a Josh Jacobs retirement for Dustin, which I will say, Dustin, the guy in my home league is every season there's a guy, Rob, one of my great friends. Every year he gets second place. Every single year he has gotten second place. And right now he is winning the semifinals matchup by 8 against Josh Jacobs. So he needs Josh Jacobs to get less than 8 for his trend to get second place every season to continue. So you will see, we might see a slow Josh Jacobs game if fate continues to twist in that way. But either way, Kendre Miller is all I care about. I need such a good Kendre Miller game. Such a good Kendre Miller game. We'll talk about more Monday Night Miracles later, but mostly just upset that Jalen Hurts got hurt, because that's it's just that's the story of the week to me. I know we had some great games, but it's so many people lost their league because of this injury. And I know we talk injuries all season, but just this week in particular really, really stings. That's such an important position. Just really, really stings to lose your fantasy season. Like I did, join with me. If you also lost your game because of the Jalen Hurts injury, I feel for you. Put your thoughts in the comments. What this is a support group now. Man, God, that sucks. And it sucks for Saquon Barkley too, because in a game where he has 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, he doesn't win. You can't be the most valuable player if your team wins in the one game without their quarterback. I think that kind of ruins his bid right now, which should, of course, leave it for, I think, Josh Allen gets this year's MVP award. So shout out to him. But Saquon Barkley, great game because of this injury. I know a lot of you probably very sad to have to play against Saquon yesterday, especially if maybe you had Jalen Hurts and then played against Saquon Barkley. That's like a double middle finger right there. But I do think that if you want to take away from this game in general, it is definitely Saquon Barkley can't win the MVP after losing. I mean, come on. Now, it can't all be doom and gloom, right? We had some fantastic stuff this week, and I do think that we need to talk about Jonathan Taylor, especially as Jonathan Taylor last week kind of ruined a lot of people's games by dropping that fumble crossing the goal line. Well, he made up for it in a big, big way. Jonathan Taylor had his first 200-yard game since 2021. It took me a minute to find that one. I was like, man, it had to be recently, but no, he had like 196 in 2023, but first game over 200 yards since 2021. 218 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Just phenomenal. Just genuinely a phenomenal game. A lot of breakaway runs as well. As long as was a 70. Just crushed it. Really, I got to put my hands together for Jonathan Taylor, making up for the disappointing game last week. And even then, last week's game wasn't necessarily disappointing. This is now 3 straight games over 100 yards. And guess what, guys? He takes on the New York Giants next week. So if you held on to Jonathan Taylor, bought him during the weird Anthony Richardson injury period or when the Jonathan Taylor was sucking period, you're probably really happy right now as he genuinely is looking like a league winner. All this talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, Bijan Robinson. Here's Jonathan Taylor looking like vintage Jonathan Taylor at the most important part of the year. We have to get excited about that. Really just bouncing back in a big way, and has the Giants next week. I mean, it doesn't line up much better. Jonathan Taylor ready to win leagues. And speaking of winners, how about these Atlanta Falcons? How about these Atlanta Falcons, baby? How about them? Where's my applause sound effect? Look, I'll be honest. I wanted to be proven wrong, and I don't think I was totally proven wrong yet. I'll say that, right? Michael Penix, not a much better game than what Kirk Cousins maybe would have put together here, but 18 of 27, 200 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception that was not his fault. Go look it up. It is the worst interception I've ever seen. It literally looked like Kyle Pitts bet that Michael Penix would throw an interception. Like, that's how bad it was. It was like he caught it and then threw it to the defender. It was awful. And the big mistake there for Penix was thinking Kyle Pitts could play ball. Unfortunately, apparently he can't. I am so dejected at Kyle Pitts at this point. It's just really ridiculous. But again, like I said, I don't know where I am at this point with this take or with Michael Penix. This week is huge, right? Going up against the Commanders, that's a massive, massive game. It got flexed to Sunday night. That's going to be a very fun one. But again, I didn't think you really had to bench Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I still don't think you did, but I'm glad that Michael Penix came out there, played well, and survived most of all. And again, that interception wasn't his fault. And it was really cool to see the Falcons in shotgun again. Actually a full formation playbook. It was pretty cool to see. He was actually playing quarterback. The Falcons offense showed a lot more signs of life than they had. I am curious, I really don't think that they would have looked worse with Kirk Cousins. I think that they would have gone out there and played the same and maybe even better. I don't that Michael Penix did yesterday, but we'll still take it, right? You're kind of have this developing rookie quarterback while also going on a playoff push type run. That's pretty cool. It is fun. It's exciting. I'm glad to see he didn't lose much confidence because that interception wasn't his fault. That's just frustrating. And I'm sure that that's going to really hinder Kyle Pitts going forward. I assume, right? I don't think that Michael Penix is all right, my first career interception was because this guy couldn't catch it. I don't think that inspires much confidence in terms of building a connection. But we'll see. I mean, there's always, of course, this is early, but I would assume at least for rest of season, he's probably more so going to rely on Darnell Mooney and Drake London. Really, really cool to see Darnell Mooney actually lead in receiving yards. That was one I was kind of worried about, is that it might be consolidated mostly just to Drake London. Honestly, I thought we'd get a 14 targeter for London. But otherwise, it did go kind of exactly as planned. Bijan Robinson heavily leaned upon. Even Algier got a lot of work. And Michael Penix was able to do some things that Kirk Cousins hasn't been able to all season. It was definitely fun. It was a good game. Nice to see. And we'll talk about later. Now the Falcons are winning the South, right? Somehow the Cowboys pulled off the upset. And the Falcons are sitting pretty. Now they do have to take on the Commanders this week. It's basically a win and get in type situation for them, but still exciting stuff. Massive, massive win. A lot of it coming down to the defense and just how bad the Giants are, but still we take those. Literally though, that interception, just horrible. That's got to kill some confidence in terms of the connection between Penix and Pitts going forward. But hey, we take the dub. We take the dub. Speaking of dubs, we've got the Winter Warrior, 2 W's right there. Derrick Henry having another big game. And as we've talked about, right, as the weather gets colder, Derrick Henry just gets better. 24 carries for 162 yards in a game where Lamar Jackson had 9 carries, in a game where Lamar Jackson had 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry still got it done. And this week he is taking on the Texans on Christmas Day. So I think we might get a little bit of a Santa Henry. I think it'll be nice. Just cool to see the big, awesome Derrick Henry game. We could never complain about those. And I think that he's going to do it again this week in the championship on Christmas Day. Should be delivering a present, if you will. And another player playing on Christmas that deserves his flowers. Unfortunately, I did say to sit him. I'll take the L there. I think it was probably the right process still. But hey, Patrick Mahomes just deserves his flowers. In fact, does he just play better with a high ankle sprain? I feel like Patrick Mahomes plays better when he's hurt because 260 pass yards and a touchdown is one of the best we've seen all year. And then he also had a rushing touchdown. 33 rush yards and a rushing touchdown. Xavier Worthy got in on the action. Hollywood Brown, his first start, got in on the action. 8 targets for Hollywood Brown in his first game as a Kansas City Chief. It's the fentanyl. Dustin. Fearless producer Dustin out here. Hyping up the fentanyl, and it's something. I just don't get it, man. Yeah, Toradol, fentanyl, whatever the hell Patrick Mahomes is putting up there, but he looked amazing, and we've just got to. That's all I've got to say. It's just wow, really. I mean, wow. The opposite of wow, though, is Isaiah Pacheco only had 9 carries for 26 yards. Kareem Hunt had 2 more carries, double the yardage and the touchdown. You actually hate to see that. You actually hate to see that. And you also hate to see that Tank Dell injury we talked about at the top of the show. Tank Dell dislocated his knee, had to be hospitalized. He is removed from the hospital now, but it was just really hard to see. It ended the game. It ended the game. Like CJ Stroud said after the game, basically, like, that's my best friend. Like, it's going to be hard for me to go out there and make plays after that. And I don't blame him. I know a lot of people are probably going to say, oh, it's a Warriors game. You've got to, strap up your bootstraps and get out there and play ball. But I mean, like, I get it. As much as it sucks, I mean, you don't want to see that happen, but I get it. I totally understand it. I mean, to watch one of your friends get hurt like that, taken out in the ambulance, I agree that it would be pretty hard to get your mental focus back and play ball. But he still finished with 240 yards, still got the 2 touchdowns, just had a couple interceptions. And yeah, they lose the game ultimately because of the Tank Dell injury. And he was off to a good one. We hadn't seen a Tank Dell game like this in a while. 98 yards and a touchdown before the injury. Really do hate to see it. Really, really hate to see it. In terms of fantasy football, Nico Collins will be obviously a must start, always is, but he might get like 15 targets next week in a big, big game against the Ravens on Christmas Day. So, hey, we'll take that silver lining, Nico Collins managers, but otherwise really unfortunate. Hopefully CJ Stroud can bounce back. I know it's going to be hard to do that, but I'm sure he'll be able to get his mind right, especially now that Tank Dell is out of the hospital. Just awful stuff. Just awful stuff. And yeah, CJ Stroud can cry. Dan Campbell can too, or whatever. If Dan Campbell's crying, I hate when people are like, oh, football players cry. Like, we're humans, dude. We get emotional. I think it's good to be emotional. Anyway, you're right. Because the Lions, led by Dan Campbell, are just phenomenal. I don't want to spend too long here, but everyone got it done. And I just think that deserves a round of applause. Really. Genuinely. The Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, 336 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jahmyr Gibbs, 109 rush yards, 45 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Jamison Williams, 143 yards and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 receptions, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Sam Laporta, 4 receptions, 43 yards, and a touchdown. It really doesn't get any better than that. Everyone ate. Every single Detroit Lion ate in this game, and that's all we could ask for. Just, again, they just really deserve a round of applause. Not much can be really said about it. Just, I love it. I love to see it. You know, shame on me. I benched J-Mo in a couple spots. Dude's just so good at football. What a guy. You know, 5 receptions, 143 yards and a touchdown against that Bears secondary. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Love J-Mo. And hey, we mentioned starting Caleb Williams on Friday, and pretty decent. We take that. 334 rush yards. Gee, could you imagine? 334 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, and 34 rush yards. Really solid game from him. No turnovers as well. The big story there being that him and Keenan Allen have a great connection. I honestly hope they re-sign him. It doesn't look like Keenan Allen's slowing down. Might as well ride him off into the sunset. God. 141 receiving yards and a touchdown for him as well. Roma Dunze gets there too, 77 yards. DJ Moore as well, 68 yards. Really solid game from the Bears' second passing game. DeAndre Swift and Roschon still sucking, unfortunately. But Caleb Williams, he's bouncing back in a big way. Again, he's gonna be fine. You know, I know a lot of people fading him right now, but I'm totally fine with what Caleb Williams is putting together in his situation right now. And this is what we should have expected. We talked about it all offseason, right? Shane Waldron, Matt Eberflus, the Bears in general. No reason to expect a real, true, great rookie season from him. He's been fine though, and I think that just people's high expectations are not accepting that he's been fine. Like, he's been totally fine. This is his second 300-yard game. Maybe even third. So, like, just be chill when it comes to Caleb Williams. Just be chill. And I do want to talk about the Browns, too, because they sucked. And we knew they would suck. And the Browns had to know that they would suck, too. I will never understand pulling the plug on Jameis Winston. Surprise, surprise, Dorian Thompson-Robinson's not an NFL quarterback. 20 of 34, 157 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked 5 times. Jerry Jeudy, 2 receptions, 20 yards. Only Jerome Ford got there, 92 rush yards and a touchdown, 39 receiving yards. You take that every single day for Jerome Ford. But again, it's just like, why did they do this? They had something. Jameis Winston and the Browns, they still sucked, but they were fun. They sucked with an exclamation point. And there's nothing wrong with that, because now they're sucking with a period. Damn. Why'd the camera go out right there? Now they're just terrible. Just truly terrible. StreamYard did not like the jokes there, man. But yeah, now the Browns just suck and it's not even exciting. What's the point? Absolutely, what is the point? Because Jerry Jeudy's now bad. Jerome Ford's fine. David Njoku, I guess, is still going to get you there in the tight end room, but like, Jerry Jeudy was killing it. Jameis Winston was fine. It was exciting. I don't understand the decision. I'll never understand the decision, and shame on the Browns for doing it. Hopefully we see Jameis Winston next week. And the Tennessee Titans situation is interesting. I'll say Mason Rudolph breathed some life into them. We'll take that. 252 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Chig Okonkwo, career high, 9 receptions, 81 yards. Calvin Ridley gets the touchdown. Nick Westbrook-Akine still finds the touchdown as well. Tyjae Spears finds the end zone a couple times. The offense looked normal, and it really is just shocking what a normal quarterback can do. And I know that they still threw 3 interceptions, but Will Levis wouldn't have had the sustained drives that Mason Rudolph is able to put together. And it really does just show that, yeah, sure, you could be a backup quarterback, but you can run an NFL offense, and that just elevates everyone else. And that's really all that matters. So Mason Rudolph, really solid backup. I like him a lot. Tons of respect there. 3 interceptions still, but to get all those touchdowns. to still be able to keep the game close, to still just do what they did. You kind of have to accept that. And Will Levis definitely has lost his job. I mean, it's just over, definitely. I mean, we already kind of knew it, but still, it's not happening. They have a top 5 pick right now after some big wins from some other losing teams. So, unfortunately, Will Levis is done. But hey, Chika Okonkwo, I got to say, 9 receptions, 81 yards, 11 targets. That's very, very exciting to see. That was a player we recommended picking up for the fantasy playoffs just in case, as the Titans had a pretty decent schedule for the tight ends. So you got to be encouraged there. You can maybe buy into him. I'm sure some people will be selling him in Dynasty after this week. But it's one of those things where they're thinking they're selling high, but it might still be a type of floor, or at least just what he should cost type situation with his athleticism. If they do get that quarterback upgrade, he should be sweet. So awesome stuff from Tennessee. Pretty cool to see, encouraging movements on the offense. The Jets will keep it short too, but Devontae Adams still cooking. We love to see it. As expected, we did recommend buying him for the playoffs as he was going to, end the year on a good way. And he's keeping it up. 7 receptions, 68 yards and a touchdown. Looking awesome. Had 13 targets, almost double the amount of Garrett Wilson. And I also want to talk about Breece Hall too. Breece Hall had 52 rush yards and 38 receiving yards, but 19 touches. So I know he didn't have the ceiling game that we were maybe hoping for, but to see him get that volume again is definitely encouraging. I do think you could start him next week in the fantasy championship based on that volume. I mean, I know that you're probably going to start Breece Hall anyway, but I know that we're in some leagues where people are starting to get very, very timid about starting him. I think you should be fine with him. I think you will. And is Cooper Kupp cooked? Or are they saving him for the playoffs? Because right now the Rams are winning the West. But Cooper Kupp hasn't really done anything as of late. 3 receptions, 24 yards this week. No receptions last week. 92 yards and a touchdown against Buffalo. But then 3 receptions and 17 yards the week before that. So only 1 good game out of the last 4 weeks. That's not very Cooper Kupp-like. And so I have to ask that question again. Is Cooper Kupp cooked? Or is he being saved for the playoffs? I'm hoping he's being saved for the playoffs. I still believe that Cooper Kupp can play ball. But I would honestly be fine benching him next week. I can't trust him. And it's seeming that there's a lot of better options out there. I mean, the volume's not even there. Normally, you would at least think the volume's there, but he's not getting anything. This is now back-to-back weeks with only 3 targets. Very, very concerning. And I think that it is possible that they are kind of saving him a little bit for the playoffs, taking the foot off the gas, using Puka Nacua a little bit more, Kyren Williams a little bit more, and just trying to squeeze through. Hard to watch, but Cooper Kupp, I think, not really a reliable asset going forward. And Jaden Daniels, definitely a reliable asset for sure. He's locked down the Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think that that's pretty much solidified at this point. 5 passing touchdowns, 258 yards against that vaunted Eagles secondary. Also 81 rush yards. And he's doing all of this with De'Ami Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus and Terry McLaurin. And I understand that Terry McLaurin is good, but that's not a great receiving room. It's really, really not. And he's just dominating really all season. I know he has Terry McLaurin, but I really do think that Jaden Daniels deserves a little bit more credit than he's getting with these weapons. Because it's just been a phenomenal season. He's now over 3,000 passing yards, 700 rushing yards. He has 28 total touchdowns. Just absolutely phenomenal rookie season from him. And they're going to get him more weapons. They're going to get him more weapons or just make the defense better. Either way, Jaden Daniels is an elite fantasy asset forever. Congratulations to everyone that got him after Caleb Williams in particular. Just awesome, awesome stuff. Jaden Daniels, the Rookie of the Year. Bryce Young is him. Bryce Young is him. 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, 68 rush yards and a touchdown as well. Getting it done with Adam Thielen, David Moore, Tommy Tremble. Looking awesome in this game, taking the Panthers to overtime, beating the Arizona Cardinals. This is exactly what you hope to see from Bryce Young. Hopefully he can use this as a building block going forward. The Panthers have to like what they see. They have a top 10 draft pick as well, so they'll probably be able to get him a decent weapon in the draft. Good stuff for Bryce Young. Shout out to everyone that just held on to him, traded for him like I did. I never really lost faith. I just couldn't. I don't know. Something about Bryce Young, I just felt that it would take a little bit more time. And we talked about it last year. I never trusted Frank Reich anyway. So I know he got benched this year, but as we talked about when he got benched, I did say in Superflex to keep holding on to him, maybe even try to trade for him. I did think that we would see him again, and we have, and he's bounced back in a really big way, and that's really, really, really commendable. So just shout out Bryce Young. Shout out Bryce Young. The Arizona Cardinals have a problem. We talked about it a lot last week. It's the play calling. It's maybe Kyler Murray's height, as I know Dustin is calling out a lot. And it's possible, right? I mean, when your quarterback has to basically get outside of the pocket to throw the ball, or at least to the perimeter or over the middle, that does make sense. Like, that does definitely hinder what you can play call. But either way, the Arizona Cardinals are not necessarily designing or making plays for their personnel. I don't know what it is. There was just no reason that this offense should look like this. They have a lot of great pieces, and they're just not looking good. This doesn't even seem like a game that they scored 30 points because their best receiver was James Conner with 49 yards, and Kyler Murray only had 200 yards. I just really don't get it. But yeah, I mean, like, you only get half the field, or you have to make Kyler Murray kind of make a play, and he's not doing it. And whether that's the Cardinals are not letting him do it, designing plays for that to happen, I'm not sure. But either way, they have a problem. They have a big problem in this offense, and that's going to hinder Trey McBride. That's going to hinder Marvin Harrison Jr. forever. It just will. It's very concerning. I hope they make some changes next year in terms of the play calling. But either way, you have to be concerned, and it's just disappointing because they really did have the pieces this year, and the West was so open. The West was so open. The Rams have no business winning this division, really. It really should be the Cardinals. And I think that they're going to go down this year as one of the more disappointing teams. Not disappointing, though, is the Minnesota Vikings. In fact, they're the exact opposite. Sam Darnold, 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just again, I mean, this guy just keeps crushing it with monster games. But Justin Jefferson finally had a vintage Justin Jefferson performance. 10 receptions, 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. Put the team on his back. Awesome stuff. You love to see Justin Jefferson finally show up in the playoff semifinals. And that's really it for that game. I mean, it's just awesome to see the Vikings continue doing their thing. We do need them to lose, though. I want the Lions to not have to have so much pressure on them. I want them to be able to relax for a game. The Seahawks, though, in this game, kept it close. And I just want to pat myself on the back. I said start DK Metcalf. Not a lot of people were doing that. A lot of people finally off DK Metcalf. But I don't know. I looked at this game and just felt that DK Metcalf would bounce back. And he finally scored a touchdown, 57 yards and a touchdown for him. And he did it in a game where Jackson Smith-Njigba, still the alpha, 12 targets, 8 receptions, 95 yards and a touchdown. Just love seeing JSN ball out like this. It's really, really incredible stuff. And we called the Kenneth Walker sit as well. 8 carries, 31 yards, did have 8 receptions, so he at least got you there in PPR. And it was honestly really good to see. I expected this before Zach Charbonnet balled out, right? Like, I was like, well, I don't care, really. Zach Charbonnet can be this good without Kenneth Walker. But when Kenneth Walker comes back, he's going to get all the volume. And that he did. But this week I teetered. I said, sit Kenneth Walker. He's coming back from an injury. Zach Charbonnet's been awesome. They can split usage. But no, Zach Charbonnet only had a carry. So this really, like, Kenneth Walker truly is the backfield, guys. And Zach Charbonnet will just perform when Kenneth Walker is hurt, which apparently at this point seems to be all of the time, as he did pick up yet another injury in this game. On the Bills, I know we had a disappointing Josh Allen game, but James Cook is just cooking. Just cooking. 100 yards and a touchdown on the ground, as well as 26 yards receiving and a touchdown in the air. James Cook looking like a true baller, looking like a league winner. Just been phenomenal really all season, but over the last few weeks as well. This week, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Last week, over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 100 yards and a touchdown 4 weeks ago. 2 touchdowns the week before that. 85 yards and a touchdown the week before that. I mean, the guy is just on fire right now. So really just shout out James Cook. Awesome stuff. And can we get Drake May some weapons? I know we had this plea last week, but it is just so hard to watch Drake May play as well as he is. But just nothing. Just absolutely nothing from his receivers. I know Kayshon Boutte ended up with a good game, 95 yards and a touchdown, but that's just not reliable on a consistent basis. It seems every week it's a different weapon in New England, and we just need to get him an alpha. We really just do. Oh my gosh. been talking too much. But Kayshon Boutte, awesome game from him. But seriously, the Patriots need some weapons. They have the number 2 pick right now. Seems they will get Travis Hunter or something, which will be awesome. But man, it's just hard to watch because the Patriots honestly could have won this game if they just had some weapons. Brock Bowers. Record-breaking season continues, 99 yards and 11 receptions. He's now over 100 receptions on the season, breaking the rookie record. I think he already broke the rookie receiving record in terms of the receptions, but definitely has smashed it now. And is now also only 9 yards away from the receiving yards record as a rookie. 1,067 receiving yards so far this year with still 2 more games to go. Just an unbelievable season from Brock Bowers. Seriously. So I also want to play him the applause sound effect. I mean, genuinely, does not get much better than that. But another rookie that also has outdone himself this year has to be Brian Thomas Jr., who in this same game, 132 yards, 9 receptions, and a touchdown. Also over 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns as a rookie. Just awesome, awesome stuff. Shout out to anyone that drafted these guys and took that chance. True alphas in the making. And I gotta ask, I mean, Brian Thomas Jr., I put him in the Marv, put him in the neighbors tier at this point, I think, because he's just gonna be awesome. And this is with Mac Jones. I do think Trevor Lawrence bounces back next season as well. So just really shout out Brian Thomas Jr. Serious stud. Another fun call we had that came true this week was that we would see vintage Deebo Samuel and vintage Tyreek Hill. I won't totally victory lap that, as Tyreek Hill in particular didn't look that great, but both scored a touchdown. Both of those guys scored a touchdown, and so I'll take that call to the bank. But the big storyline is, of course, Devon Achane remaining a league winner, 120 rush yards and a touchdown, 6 receptions, 70 receiving yards. Unbelievable year from Devon Achane. Just seriously, putting himself, I think, top 5 definitely dynasty running backs, but I really think he has an argument to be in that Gibbs, Bijan, Breece Hall tier. I know people put him below that because of their injury concerns, but I think he's proven that he can be durable at this point. I really think he belongs in that. And I think that, like, if I had Breece Hall, I wouldn't mind sending him away for Devon Achane. If I had Gibbs, I wouldn't mind seeing what I could get on top. Bijan, what I could get on top of Achane, just because he's unbelievable. What he's doing in the run game, in the receiving game, it really is unmatched. So just really a shout out to Devon Achane, who just remains a league winner. And just a couple more takeaways. I know that we already talked about this in the show. The Buccaneers are really good at football, and I just wish they had a harder end of season schedule so the Falcons could take the division. Because it's just unfair that they get to end the year against the Cowboys, Panthers, and Saints with only a 1-game lead. Like, how are they going to lose any of those 3 games? Especially when they're going to go up against the Cowboys, and of course Baker Mayfield's going to throw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course Bucky Irving's going to find the end zone. Of course Jalen McMillan is going to find the end zone. Of course Mike Evans is going to have a solid game. So how are the Buccaneers supposed to lose? Seriously. I mean, they're just playing unbelievable football right now, and I just want them to lose a game. Apparently they lose with Cooper Rush, baby. Oh my God. 292 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb putting the team on his back with 100 yards. Even Ezekiel Elliott finds the end zone. It's that Cowboys defense as well, but man, the Cowboys pull off the upset. The Falcons now winning the South. Let's go. Now, of course, the Falcons have to beat the Commanders now. It's probably not going to last long, but it's just exciting to see, especially with the Panthers heating up. There's no givens the rest of the season. As good as the Buccaneers are, as well as they're playing, we'll see. But I have to shout out my boy. Oh, my Cowboys leading receiver, CeeDee Lamb, 105 yards. Second, Brandon Cooks with 3 receptions and 48 yards. And then who is that with also 3 receptions and 41 yards? Ryan Flournoy. There he is. There he is. He had an awesome 27-yard first down catch. Pretty cool to see. Showing up when Jalen Tolbert got injured. Ryan Flournoy, ladies and gentlemen. Not dead yet. Let's go. Let's go. And that'll do it for the reactions. But again, I just want to say, as we head into the final game of our semifinals, I wish you all that your Monday Night Miracles come true. Unless they have to do with Kendre Miller sucking, we need a massive Kendre Miller game. Again, Kendre Miller, you've got to have a monster game. We love it. We absolutely love it. Awesome, awesome stuff tonight. I wish you all the best. I hope you win your semifinals matchup. I see a lot of comments in here that a lot of you made your championships as a special thanks to the show and Player Profiler. So I'm glad that I was able to help you guys all season. I hope tonight that it gets locked in for you guys and we could be tuned in tomorrow talking about the championships. Not sure if I'll be live. I have a Christmas party tonight, so we'll see. I might have to pre-record. I'm debating. I'm going back and forth. We'll see. But again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and trusting me with your teams this season. I know a lot of you have done well, so I'm glad, seriously, just so glad to see that. And I hope they continue tonight. Everyone have a magnificent Monday. I hope all your Monday Night Miracles come true, especially Kendre Miller and Demario Davis. Monster performances. We need those. You all enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you tomorrow, pre-recorded or not. We'll be here. Y'all have a good one. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe, and peace.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.